Jasmine Crockett was a politician known for speaking loudly and saying bold things. One day, she stood in front of a big crowd at a human rights event in Texas. She was upset about Governor Greg Abbott and the rules he was making for the state. While she was speaking, she made a joke about him. She called him Governor Hot Wheels because he uses a wheelchair. Some people in the crowd gave a nervous laugh. A few clapped. But when the video of her speech was shared on the internet that night, people got very upset. They said making fun of someone in a wheelchair was wrong. Soon, social media was filled with angry comments. People argued about what she had said. News reporters started talking about it on TV. Even people who normally supported Crockett thought she had gone too far this time. On a talk show called The View, a host named Vanessa Chavez watched the video with a serious face. After it played, she frowned. "It doesn't matter who you are talking about," she said. "Making fun of someone with a disability is never okay." Back in Texas, a veteran named Darren Holt, who lost both legs while serving in the military, made a video from his wheelchair. He spoke directly to Crockett. "We can disagree about laws," he said, "but when you make fun of someone's body, you're not attacking their ideas. You're just being cruel." His video was powerful. It was emotional. People could feel how hurt he was. It quickly went viral, getting over 3 million views in just one day. But even after all this, Crockett still refused to say sorry. When a radio host asked her about it, she didn't apologize. Instead, she said, "I'm not making fun of his wheelchair. I'm talking about how he takes away people's freedom. People are just too sensitive." Those 4 words, "too sensitive," made people even angrier. News stations kept repeating her words. Social media exploded again. More and more people started talking about what she said. But while everyone was focused on the argument, a man named Kash Patel was paying attention in a different way. Kash Patel was known for being smart, calm, and strategic. He had worked in important government jobs before. He was not the kind of person to rush into a fight or argue online. Instead, he liked to take his time and plan carefully. He didn't post anything on Twitter. He didn't join in on the public outrage. Instead, he started gathering information. He sat down with a notebook and watched old videos of Crockett. He wanted to see if this was just a one-time mistake or if it was part of a pattern. He took notes. He collected facts. He looked through news articles, interviews, and even old social media posts. He found other times when Crockett had said aggressive things and refused to take responsibility. One video stood out. In this one, Crockett was at a school board meeting. A parent disagreed with her, and instead of listening, she snapped at them. She accused them of being on the payroll of hate. That moment showed something important. This wasn't just one mistake. This was something she had done before. As days passed, the problem didn't disappear. Every morning, TV news stations played Crockett's Hot Wheels comment again and again. People kept talking about it. And then things got even worse. Another old video of Crockett came out. In this one, she was on a podcast. She was joking about another politician, Ted Cruz. She said, "Sometimes I feel like Ted Cruz just needs to be knocked over the head, hard, really hard." This comment made people even more upset. Just a few weeks before, she had also said something about Elon Musk. After he disagreed with a law she supported, she said he needed to be taken down. People who defended her said she didn't really mean these things. They said she was just using figure of speech and wasn't being serious. But Kash Patel and her critics saw it differently. They believed she had a pattern of saying harsh things and never taking responsibility. While all of this was happening, Crockett's office was in chaos. Her staff members spoke in hushed voices. Phones rang nonstop. People who had donated to her campaign were calling, asking questions. They wanted to know why she wouldn't apologize. One of her team members, Chloe Davidson, worked in press relations. She was pale and looked exhausted. She turned to her coworker, Trevor Daniels, and shook her head. "She doesn't get it," Chloe said. "She thinks this is just another silly internet fight." Trevor nodded slowly. "This is different," he said. "People are really mad." Even other politicians from her party were being asked if they agreed with what she had said. Most of them avoided answering. A few said that it was better to focus on real issues instead of personal insults. But one thing was clear, no one was rushing to defend her. While all of this was happening, Kash Patel was still working quietly. He didn't post anything online. He didn't make any speeches. Instead, he was putting together a detailed plan. He wasn't just looking at one comment. He was looking at the bigger picture. He wanted to show people that this wasn't just one mistake. It was a pattern of behavior. Then, on Friday night, something big happened. Crockett went on a late-night show hosted by a comedian named Eli Monroe. Most of the time, his show was fun and relaxed. The audience laughed a lot. But at one point Eli got serious. "Real talk," he said. "Do you regret calling the governor Hot Wheels?" Some folks in the disabled community didn't take that well. Crockett just smiled. "If they knew what he was doing to people in this state, they'd call him worse," she said. The room went quiet. Eli blinked in surprise. People in the audience whispered to each other. "That's your answer?" he asked. Crockett didn't back down. "I don't sugarcoat," she said. The silence was loud. By the next morning, that moment was everywhere. Now people weren't just upset about what she said. They were upset about how she said it. She didn't seem to care. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a pattern. While all of this was happening, Kash Patel was ready to reveal something big. He made a video. It wasn't flashy. It didn't have dramatic music. There were no quick edits or fancy effects. It was just Kash sitting in a simple chair with a notepad in front of him. He looked calm and serious. "Let's talk about Representative Jasmine Crockett," he said, his voice steady. "Because this isn't just about one comment. It's about a pattern. And I think the American people deserve to see the full picture." That video was about to change everything. Kash Patel's video, "Enough is Enough," was posted at noon on a quiet Tuesday. In just 3 hours, 400,000 people had watched it. By nighttime, more than 2.1 million had seen it. Patel didn't shout or make fun of anyone. Instead, he talked like a teacher explaining something important. He showed clips of different moments, one after another, each more shocking than the last. First, there was the Hot Wheels comment. Then the thing Ted Cruz said. After that, Elon Musk rants. Then, there was a moment at a college where Crockett told a student he was supporting bad people just because he asked a question about money. Patel didn't change the clips. He let them play fully. Then he paused and asked, "Does that sound like a leader? Or does it sound like someone who just wants attention?" Patel wasn't just criticizing. He explained things slowly and clearly. He talked about how leaders should speak and act. He said there's a difference between being passionate and being reckless. Then he talked about the bigger picture. He said, "You can't lead if you keep making people fight. You can't protect people's rights if all you care about is attacking those who don't agree with you. That's not leadership. That's just ego." People listened, not because of who Patel was, but because of how he said things. He wasn't trying to be famous. He just wanted people to understand. In one part of the video, he spoke to veterans, people who used to be in the military. He said, "You know what courage looks like. You've seen it up close. I think you'd agree, making fun of a man's wheelchair because you don't like his ideas isn't courage. It's cowardice. It's hiding behind a microphone." That part hit hard. Groups of veterans started sharing the video. Even some people who usually didn't like Patel started saying, "He's not wrong." In a small restaurant in Amarillo, a retired teacher named Leah Foster watched the video on her phone. She had voted for Crockett and even gave money to support her. But now she feels sick to her stomach. "I didn't sign up for this," she whispered. "I thought she was smart. I didn't think she was mean." At the end of the 19-minute video, Patel didn't ask for Crockett to quit. He didn't even say her name in an angry way. He just looked at the camera and said, "We need better from everyone. We need leaders, not performers." That last sentence, simple and honest, stayed with people. The next morning, news stations started talking about Patel's video. Headlines said things like, "Kash Patel shows the truth about Crockett and it's bad. No yelling, just facts." People on both sides agree, this video is powerful. Even more surprising, some Democrats started telling reporters, "Off the record, we've been worried about her for a while." But Crockett didn't back down. And soon, her stubbornness would cause even more trouble. By Thursday, things were getting worse. Inside a big room in the Capitol, a group of Democratic experts sat around a long table. Their phones were buzzing. Some were watching Patel's video again, shaking their heads. No one spoke for a while. Then Rebecca Pierce, an experienced campaign advisor, finally said, "We have a problem." She wasn't just talking about the comment. She was talking about how Crockett refused to admit she was wrong. Crockett had chances to explain herself, to say sorry, or even to soften her words. But she didn't. She kept tweeting, kept defending herself, and even shared memes making fun of Abbott. She was acting like this was a joke. But Patel's video wasn't going away. It was getting bigger. Morning shows were talking about it. Big podcasts too. The worst part? Patel's calm way of speaking made it even stronger. He didn't need to yell. He let Crockett's own words show the problem. Her team knew this was bad. Back in Texas, Crockett's campaign manager, Dylan Carter, was trying to keep things together. But people who donated money were starting to back out. One big donor from Plano told him, I can't defend the wheelchair comment. On Sunday, Dylan sat across from Crockett in her office. He looked stressed. We need to talk about this the right way, he said. Not just attack Patel. He didn't make this about himself. Crockett didn't seem to care. He's trying to beat me with facts and fake concern, she said. I'm not giving him that win. Dylan sighed. It's not about him anymore. It's about how you look. People aren't mad just because you said it. They're mad because you don't care that you said it. Silence. Crockett turned to her computer. Then let them be mad. That moment, her refusal to listen, would end up costing her even more. Over the next 2 days, things got worse. A local newspaper wrote an article titled, "The Arrogance of Power, Why Crockett's Words Matter." A Democratic senator, when asked about the issue, didn't defend her. Instead, he just said, leaders need to choose their words wisely. Then a video from a town hall meeting went viral. A woman in her 60s stood up and asked a simple question. If she can say something that means and not even care, what else is she willing to ignore? The room went quiet. People weren't just thinking about what Crockett had said anymore. They were thinking about who she was. Meanwhile, Patel wasn't celebrating. He had said what he wanted to say. Now he is back to his regular work. When a reporter asked him about the reaction to his video, he simply said, "It's not about going viral. It's about accountability." That one sentence said more than a long speech. He didn't make fun of Crockett. He didn't act happy about what was happening. That made his words hit even harder. But inside Crockett's campaign office, things were falling apart. The confidence was gone. The energy was gone. People weren't laughing anymore. In a closed-door meeting, 5 of her closest team members sat around a table. The mood was heavy. Arthur Foster, a political expert, had flown in from Austin just to help. He got straight to the point. "This isn't going away," he said. "And if you don't change the way you're handling this, you could lose your seat next year." Crockett leaned back. "So you're telling me to say sorry for telling the truth?" Arthur frowned. "No, I'm saying there's a difference between speaking the truth and burning everything down while you do it." Sienna, a young and loyal aide, spoke up. "But people love her for being bold." Chloe, the press officer, replied flatly, "They did. But now, they're just tired." Even the people who liked her attitude were wondering if she had anything else to offer. The room was silent. Then Trevor, the speechwriter, slid a folder across the table. "This is the news coverage from just the last 36 hours, he said. Everyone knew what that meant. This was bad. Really bad. Patel's video now had 4 million views. But he hadn't said a single word. That silence was on purpose. It made people wonder. It made people listen. And somehow it made him look stronger. Jasmine Crockett sat at her desk and opened a folder. Inside, she saw article headlines staring back at her like warning signs. Jasmine Crockett's joke isn't funny anymore. Patel's case is strong and she's losing support. From fighter to reckless, what happened to Jasmine Crockett? She shut the folder with a frustrated sigh. "I'm not begging that man for anything." Dylan, her communications director, spoke softly. "No one is asking you to beg. But maybe you could say something real from the heart. No jokes, no tweets. Just honesty." Crockett looked around the room at her team. "You all think I went too far, don't you?" Nobody answered right away. Then Chloe, her closest advisor, finally spoke up. "I think you forgot that words don't always make you powerful. Sometimes they just make you loud." Chloe's words hit hard like a slap. Crockett didn't say anything back. She turned her gaze to the window, watching people walking by below. Some carried umbrellas. Others held coffee cups. Briefcases swung at their sides. Probably none of them were thinking about her. And somehow that bothered her more than the headlines. Outside the office, staff members looked up as she walked out. She didn't say a word. She just disappeared into her office and closed the door behind her. Inside, Arthur sighed. If she doesn't change direction soon. Trevor, one of her strategists, looked up from his laptop. She still doesn't get it. It's not about the joke. It's about her pride. The auditorium at Southern Methodist University in Dallas was almost full. It wasn't a rally but a town hall. People came to talk about real issues. But with all the drama online, the media showed up too. Cameras lined the walls. Reporters held notebooks, waiting for their next headline. Everyone was watching to see if Jasmine Crockett would finally say something about the controversy. She walked onto the stage wearing navy blue and a tightly controlled expression. Her team had spent hours debating what she should say. Dylan suggested a short, clear statement. Chloe wrote something that took responsibility without making her look weak. But Jasmine threw those ideas away. She wanted to speak from her heart. The moderator, a news anchor named Jasmine Rivers, started with easy questions. Crockett answered quickly, maybe even too sharply. Then, at the 15-minute mark, Jasmine shifted in her seat. "We have to talk about something important," she said. "The comments you made last week about Governor Abbott. The public reaction. Patel's video. Everyone here wants to hear from you. Do you regret what you said?" Crockett took a deep breath. She looked at the crowd. Phones were up, recording every move. "I regret," she said slowly, "that people get more upset over words than over the harmful laws that actually hurt people." The room was silent. She continued, "Let me be clear. I don't care what chair Governor Abbott uses. I care about the laws he signs. If people are mad at what I said, maybe they're not mad enough at what he does." A few people clapped, but it was scattered, hesitant. The silence felt heavier than the applause. Jasmine leaned forward. "So, just to be clear, that's not an apology?" "I don't apologize for calling out injustice," Crockett said firmly, "even if it makes people uncomfortable." That was the clip that would go viral. Not because it was powerful, but because it didn't feel right. Wrong tone. Wrong moment. Backstage, Dylan rubbed his temples. She just gave Patel another headline. And she had. By the next morning, the video was everywhere. But this time, something was different. Even some of her biggest supporters were turning on her. Progressive news outlets. Social justice influencers. They started using words like arrogant, reckless, and self-absorbed. One activist tweeted, "I believe in boldness. But this isn't bold. It's blind." Meanwhile, Patel stayed silent. No response. No tweets. His video kept growing in views, but he refused interviews. When a reporter asked him in Florida if he had anything to say, he simply replied, "People see the truth. I don't need to say more." His silence made him look calm. Meanwhile, Crockett looked like she was spinning out of control. On a morning news show in Tucson, a group of Black and Latino veterans talked about the controversy. One of them, a retired Navy officer named Maxwell Davis, put it simply, "You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself." Another added, "You can be right about an issue and still be wrong in how you treat people." By the weekend, the question wasn't if Crockett had messed up. It was whether she could fix it. But before she even had a chance to try, someone unexpected spoke up and made things even worse. Sunday morning brought a shocking twist. Out of all the people to speak up, no one expected Adam Sinclair. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't a journalist. He was just a quiet guy who once worked on Crockett's campaign when she was starting out. He never liked the spotlight. But after watching her town hall, he couldn't stay quiet anymore. He posted a 6-minute video on Facebook. No fancy setup. No script. Just him sitting in his backyard in San Antonio. "I used to believe in Jasmine," he began. "I thought she was the kind of person who spoke truth when others were scared. But somewhere along the way it stopped being about truth and started being about her." He sighed. "When she made that joke about Abbott, I winced. But when she refused to listen to why it was wrong, when she dismissed the people who were hurt, I knew she had changed. She lost the ability to reflect, to be humble, to grow." His video spread fast. Not because it was shocking, but because it was honest. One viewer commented, "This man just said what we've all been thinking." No hate. Just disappointment. Even Crockett's friends were shaken. Some stopped answering her calls. Others released public statements that sounded more like they were backing away from her than supporting her. Meanwhile, Patel stayed quiet. His video kept gaining views. When reporters asked him if he had anything else to say, he just repeated, "People see the truth." His calm attitude made people think. This wasn't just about one comment. It was about how people react when they're called out. Do they listen? Do they get defensive? Do they try to understand the harm they caused, even if they didn't mean to? Crockett's refusal to listen became the real story. And Patel's quiet response made him look strong. By the end of the week, Crockett's approval rating dropped by 10 points. People started talking about a new candidate to run against her. One voter, Denise Garrow from Waco, wrote in an opinion piece, "Jasmine could have owned her words. Instead, she let them own her." The lesson? It's not about being perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But what separates a real leader from someone who just wants attention isn't policy. It's humility. It's being able to say, "Yeah, I got that one wrong." And when someone like Patel responds with facts, not anger, it shows that truth doesn't need a megaphone. It just needs clarity. So next time a leader shrugs off criticism with pride, ask yourself, do they really want to lead or do they just want to be seen? Because how someone handles criticism tells you more about them than any speech ever could. Words matter, but character matters more. If you like this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures, mysteries, and unforgettable moments. Your support keeps these stories alive and the creativity flowing. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video.